This final group represents the bottom of the barrel. These are not merely bad investments or frustrating projects. They are cars that are fundamentally flawed, historically infamous, or simply sad representations of a once great name. These are the vehicles to avoid, no matter the price. The tarnished legends, post-60s failures. These cars are not from the 1960s, but they are worthless because of their 1960s legacy. They are the zombies of the muscle car world, famous names from the golden era slapped onto pathetic, underpowered cars from the malaise era of the 1970s, forever tarnishing the reputation of their legendary predecessors. 1973 Pontiac GTO. Once the undisputed king of muscle, the 1973 GTO was reduced to a bloated, unattractive option package on the Le Mans. Choked by new emissions regulations, its 400 Ci V8 produced a mere 230 HP. 1978 Oldsmobile 442. The mighty 442, once a symbol of balanced performance, became a garish sticker package on the hideous Aeroback Cutlass Salon. Its oversized decals and stripes could not hide its complete lack of performance. 1975 Ford Mustang II, perhaps the most infamous of all. This was a muscle car based on the subcompact Ford Pinto. Its top engine upon introduction was a V6 making a pathetic 105 HP, later upgraded to a 302 Ci V8 that managed only 140 HP. These cars represent the death of an era. They have no redeeming performance qualities and virtually no collector value. Buying one is an exercise in irony, a sad reminder of what was lost to emissions regulations and the oil crisis. 1960 to 1963 Chevrolet Corvair. The Chevrolet Corvair is the car that launched 1,000 lawsuits and made consumer advocate Ralph Nader a household name. It is the infamous poster child of Nader's book, Unsafe at Any Speed, due to a flawed rear suspension design that could lead to deadly accidents. The early Corvair's rear-engine swing-axle suspension had a high roll center that during hard cornering could cause the outside rear wheel to tuck under the car. This action would drastically reduce the tire's contact patch, leading to a sudden and violent loss of traction and severe oversteer, often resulting in a single-car accident. Internal documents later revealed that General Motors was aware of the flaw and could have rectified it with a simple, inexpensive anti-roll bar, but declined to do so for cost reasons. This decision led to over 100 lawsuits and a massive blow to GM's public reputation. Beyond the dangerous handling, the air-cooled engines were prone to oil leaks and throwing fan belts, the latter of which would cause the engine to rapidly overheat. While later models, 1965 and newer, featured a completely redesigned and safe independent rear suspension, the stigma of the early models has tainted the entire line forever, keeping collector values low. It is a car with a dark past that offers mediocre performance and a cloud of controversy. 1966 Dodge Coronet Base Slant 6. The base model 1966 Dodge Coronet is the ultimate muscle car imposter. It wears the same handsome muscular B-body sheet metal as the legendary 426 Hemi Coronet RT, but it is powered by one of the most lethargic engines of the decade. The standard engine was the 225 Ci Slant 6, an engine renowned for its incredible durability and reliability, but also for producing only 140 HP. While the engine itself is nearly indestructible, placing it in a mid-size car weighing over 3,400 pounds results in dangerously slow acceleration. It is the absolute definition of all show and no go. This vehicle represents the most extreme example of the base model trap. A genuine Hemi Coronet is a six-figure blue-chip collectible, A slant 6 Coronet, by contrast, struggles to break the $10,000 barrier. J.D. Power shows an average retail price for a V8-powered Coronet 500 at just $14,050, with the 6-cylinder version being worth significantly less. This car is a rolling disappointment that promises the world with its muscular looks and delivers absolutely nothing. 1968 Mercury Montego MX, base models. The base model 1968 Mercury Montego MX takes the disappointing formula of the slant 6 Coronet and makes it even worse by putting it in a slightly heavier, more luxurious, and even more forgotten package. The base engine for the entire Montego line was a 200 CI inline 6, making a truly pathetic 115 HP. The optional base V8 was a 2-barrel 302 CI with only 210 HP. This was Mercury's version of the Ford Fairlane and Torino, but it never gained the same market traction or enthusiast following, especially in its base form. As a result, its values are in the absolute basement of the classic car market. Hagerty has recorded recent auction sales of Montego MX models for as low as $3,300. J.D. Power lists an average retail value of just $12,950 for V8 models, with 6-cylinder cars being worth even less. These cars are also prone to common issues like transmission problems and severe rust, making a cheap example a potential money pit. If a slant 6 Coronet is a disappointment, a 6-cylinder Montego is a tragedy. It is slow, obscure, and has no collector value. The ultimate money pit, the cheap project car. The single most worthless 60s muscle car is not a specific model, but a category. The cheap project car, it is the rust basket case version of any car, but especially one of the troubled models detailed in this report. It is the siren song of a bargain that inevitably leads to financial ruin. The illusion of a cheap $5,000 project car is a myth. The real cost is in the restoration. A professional restoration can easily cost between $50,000 and $100,000, with some concourse-level builds exceeding $200,000. Even a dedicated DIY restoration can cost $15,000 to $30,000 in parts, materials, and specialized tools alone. Furthermore, the annual cost of classic car ownership, the ownership tax, can be substantial. Even a finished car requires thousands per year for specialized insurance, $1,000 to $3,000, routine maintenance, $1,000 to $4,000, and proper climate-controlled storage, $500 to $3,000. The fundamental equation of classic car economics dictates that it is always more financially prudent to buy a finished car well maintained. Sellers often have $20,000 or more invested in parts and labor than their final asking price. Buying a project means volunteering to be the person who loses that money. The most worthless 60s muscle car to buy in 2025 is the one that has been sitting in a field for 30 years. Rust, missing parts, and decades of neglect will turn any dream into a nightmare. Conclusion: how to buy the dream, not the nightmare. The analysis of these 20 vehicles reveals the significant pitfalls awaiting the unprepared buyer in the classic car market. The list has detailed the underpowered, the poorly designed, the unreliable money pits, and the downright infamous. The primary takeaway is the critical importance of thorough research. The world of 60s muscle is filled with nuance, where a name on a fender does not guarantee performance, and a low price tag often hides a world of financial and mechanical pain. A truly valuable classic car, one that is both a joy to own and a sound financial asset, possesses a clear set of traits. These criteria, which the cars on this list fail to meet, are the key to a successful purchase. Performance and desirability. It must have the right engine and the right factory options package that enthusiasts covet. Condition and originality. The vehicle should be as close to factory correct as possible or restored to a verifiably high standard with proper documentation. Rarity. It should have been produced in limited numbers, but not so limited that essential parts are impossible to find. Cultural significance. It must be a car that people dreamed of owning when it was new and continue to dream of owning today. The cars on this list fail on one and often all of these points. They are the anti-investments. The single most important piece of advice for any aspiring collector is to buy the best, most complete, and most well-documented example of a desirable model that one can possibly afford. It may require saving for another year, but it is the only way to ensure the dream becomes a reality. The most expensive car one can ever buy is a cheap one.